let's move on to the Capitals, guys. Another team that you could argue is in need of some defensive help. What is missing? This team lost 3 in a row, guys. Now, they did earn 2 points because 2 of them were shootout losses. But coming off that great West Coast trip, they're now still in 9th place in the Eastern Conference behind Detroit and Columbus for that last spot. What's missing, Dan, from this Capitals team that's preventing them from playing to their full potential? Could have asked this all year.
No, I don't think you could, really. I think that you're creating a false narrative here. I think this is their potential. They don't have enough good players. They don't have enough good coaching. The roster hasn't been assembled smartly enough. And, maybe they still sneak into the playoffs, and maybe they do some damage there. But, the fact of the matter is you've got AHL defenders playing all throughout the lineup. You've got Jay Beagle centering the best scorer on the planet. They're getting some results, but they just are not a good enough team. That's all that it is.
Given the Dennis Green, they are who we thought they were argument. I like that. All right, so maybe this is it. They're just a sort of a fringe playoff team.
They've been playing this way for 4 months. I don't know
true.
why. I think you could argue. I think you could argue that Adam Oates maybe could have moved some stuff around a little bit and managed his assets a little bit better to get a little bit more out of the roster that they have. But I don't see how there's an argument that they're have vastly more potential than what they've been for 4 months.
Jason, would you agree?
Yes.
Simply put, they're playing at the level that this is their expectation.
They're playing at the level that they were assembled, and and it's always hard for me to gauge coaching. There are some coaches who you just know, okay, this guy's a difference maker, but clearly, when you play this way for this period of time, this is who you are.
They're 81 points, LeVar. They're not only have to worry about catching Columbus, who has a game in hand and a point ahead of them, but then they've got Toronto, New Jersey, and Ottawa right behind them. So it's not like they're just chasing somebody. They got to fight teams off. It's really going to take Detroit or Columbus to come back, I think, in addition to the Caps really winning out. And they've got 4 of their next 5 on the road. Any reason to be optimistic despite those stats?
Well, I've been saying I don't think they'll make the playoffs this year. I just think that's the way they're trending. I don't think that they're going to make it. But let's be clear, based off of what Dan said, which I totally agree as well, what does it really matter? I know it's, okay, make it in, it's a whole new season, but does it really matter if the Caps make it into the playoffs? Because I think we know that when it comes down to being able to play at a high level, at a consistent rate, a consistent way, we have not seen that from this team. So I think that it's another false feeling of security or positive energy towards the team if they make the playoffs, because outside of them having an amazing playoff run, there's no reason to think that they're any different a team than what they have been.
I think that's a great point. I think actually a lot of Caps fans, oddly, are kind of agreeing with you about that. It doesn't matter if they make the playoffs. It doesn't matter if they go in and lose in the first round. And you look at how they're scoring goals. They're scoring goals almost exclusively on the power play right now. They're going to have if they do make the playoffs, you're not going to get the same number of power play chances that they've been getting. So I think that's kind of an interesting point. To your question about is there any reason to feel hope, they do have these road games coming up, but maybe the best they've played in the last 2 months was in that 3-game West Coast swing, where for some reason they just seem to play like a different team out there. So maybe being away from home and seeing their chances really on their kind of last gasp here, maybe that helps them again the way it did in California. 15
games since Ovechkin scored a 5-on-5 goal. Longest drought of his career. But it's not just him. As Katie Carrera pointed out in her story today, also, Backstrom hasn't scored on even strength goals since February 27th. It goes well beyond.
They certainly are battered a little bit. Brooks Lake probably not going to play, I guess, for the rest of the season. Grabowski missed so many games, and who knows if he's exactly at full strength. And I think Backstrom, after that hit he took the other day, I don't know if he's totally 100% either.
The playoffs, non-playoffs debate will be interesting, though. If they make the playoffs and then go out in the first round again, it's just as bad as missing the playoffs altogether, I would say, right?
Yeah.
That'll be interesting to watch.
Made the point that
the pressure on
better
McPhee.
that they miss the playoffs
to just cut it,
as opposed to getting kicked out the first round.
Quit teasing everybody to say, hey, all you got to do is get in.
Not even the teasing part. I just think that it's more so they need that wake-up call, because I think these players are making it into the playoffs, and they're viewing it a little bit differently than if they were to miss the playoffs altogether.
All right, well, let's look at that. We hit our number right on the buzzer there.